Hey everyone, thank you for joining us today for our demonstration on the grow bags that you signed up for. I'm your community school specialist, Mrs. Knepp, and I'm here with Mrs. Ashley Botkins from the University of Maryland Extension, who works with the Masters Growers Program.
Yes, so thanks for having us. Today we're going to give you a demonstration on how to put together your grow bags and what steps you need to do to keep them growing all summer long.
So let's get started. Today, you're going to receive everything you need to plant 2 grow bags. You're going to receive a big bag of potting soil. You're going to get 2 5-gallon grow bags. And everyone who signed up today is also going to get a copy of the Tops and Bottoms book.
Yes, and you're also going to get the plants you need to put into your grow bags. So you're going to be getting a tomato plant as well as cucumber starts, and then seeds to go with each one. So as we go along, you'll know a little bit more about where things go, but the basil is going to go in the same container with the tomato, and the lettuce is going to go in the same container with the cucumbers. All right, so to get started, you're going to just grab your grow bags. So these are cloth grow bags, and they're supposed to hold 5 gallons worth of soil, which is the amount you need for 1 tomato plant. So the other important thing to know about cloth bags are that you can reuse them from season to season. So at the end of this growing season, just dump it into your compost pile. You can spray the bag out, let it dry, and then just store it for future use.
That's really convenient.
Yeah, we can use it year after year. And then with the potting soil, because our plants need the maximum amount of growth space, we want to be sure that when you're filling the bag that you put it all the way to the top. You'll want to press it down pretty solidly and then fill it again, because we want to make sure that our plants have a maximum amount of space for those roots to take in.
Yeah. And the potting soil that they're getting today, Ashley, does this already have the fertilizer in it for them?
It does. That's a great question. So right here it always says will feed up to 6 months. So that means that it has a slow release fertilizer in it. And if you take a look, you'll see little yellow granules.
Oh,
you can
cool.
see those. They kind of remind you of little tiny circles. So every time you water your planter, it's going to release a little bit of nutrients out into those roots. So it's really nice for all season growth.
So as you're planting, kiddos, you could look inside of your potting mix and see if you can find those little yellow circles that Ashley showed us. That's the fertilizer helping the plants to grow healthy.
That's right. So we're going to go ahead and finish filling up our bags. Again, you're just going to want to take we used a cup that we found in the kitchen, and we're just kind of using that to keep some of it off of our hands. And you're just going to want to fill it all the way up again, and then make sure that you push it down and then refill it so that we have a nice solid base for our roots to go into. Okay, so to get started, we're going to start with the tomato. So we're going to just take the tomato. It's going to be in a plastic container when you get it. You'll just turn it upside down, work the plastic, and then you'll get your tomato that's ready to go right into the soil. There's really no need to mess with the roots, but if it is a little bit root bound with that plastic all the way around it, you can just kind of gently fluff them a little bit. And the cool thing about tomatoes is you can't really plant them too deep. So anywhere that you put a little bit deeper into the soil, that'll just turn to root. So you want to just kind of dig down into your soil and then take the plant and set it down in there. Again, you're looking for good root to soil contact. So then you're just going to want to kind of push it in there and get it right in the center. And then we're going to grow basil with your tomato. Since a lot of people like to eat basil and tomatoes together, it makes sense that you grow them together. That's what we call a companion plant. And a lot of people say that your basil will taste better if you grow it with a tomato, and your tomato will taste better if you grow it with basil. So you're just going to have seeds, and you're just going to kind of sprinkle them. They're little tiny black seeds. I know you can't see that from the video, but when you open it, you'll see you're just going to take your pinchers and just kind of sprinkle them all around the base of that tomato.
And after they sprinkle the seeds, is it important to mix it into the soil or just leave them on top?
You're just going to want to pat it down gently. You're not going to really want to cover it at all because they don't need very deep. So just kind of take and sprinkle your seeds all around the base of it, and you'll get a nice stand of basil. And that's all you do for this container.
Okay, in the second grow bag, we're going to plant cucumbers, and we're also going to plant some lettuce seeds. And we're planting these together because these are companion plants too, right?
Yes. Yeah, they'll grow really well together, and they're nice to eat together in a salad.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to start with the cucumber plant. So how should I get started, Ashley?
So your cucumber plants that you guys are going to get are going to be in these jiffy pots, which are the roots will just go right through it, so you don't have to take it out. And the fun thing about cucumbers or squash or anything in that family is that they don't like to have their roots messed with. So the less we can disturb the roots, the better. So
And the jiffy pot is actually really soft to touch. It's not hard like you would think most pots are. So it's going to expand and move around
Yep.
or be able to move flexibly in the soil.
Yep, and if you look at the bottom of it when you get them, you'll probably start to be able to see some roots that are growing right through the pot eventually, once they get a little bit bigger.
Now, does location matter where I put it in the pot?
I would put it right in the center so it has a lot of space again to expand and grow through the whole season.
And just like the tomato plant, I'm going to push it down
Yep.
deep and then push
Yep.
the soil around.
Yep, exactly.
How does that look?
Great, really nice.
Okay.
And then the next step,
So I'm going to put the lettuce seeds and I'm going to just sprinkle those around like you did the basil.
yep, just
Okay.
all around the base.
Just around the base.
So the varieties of plants that you guys are getting this year are going to be, we're going to have a bush cucumber. So if you can put it near like something that a fence that it can trellis on, or if you have it on a deck or something like that, if you can give a place for the tomatoes or the cucumbers to grow up, it'll kind of be helpful with giving them a little bit more productivity. And the cool thing to know about lettuce is that it needs sunlight to germinate, so don't cover it. So just sprinkle it on top of the soil and just kind of let it be. Once you water it in, that's all the soil cover it really needs. And then for your tomato, you guys are going to get a variety. It's called a Tiny Tim, which is a bush tomato. It's going to stay really small and compact, and it's going to give you nice little red cherry tomatoes whenever they're ripe.
These are really 2 grow bags with some interesting plants inside of them. So now that we have them planted, can we talk about location, where we should put these grow bags?
Absolutely. So anytime we're growing vegetables, they need at least 6 hours of direct sunlight. 6 to 8 is what we tell most people. So it doesn't have to be direct sun all day long, though. It can be like 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours at night. It doesn't have to be like continuous through the whole day. But the more sunlight they have, the better they're going to grow, the better they're going to produce, the more vegetables you'll be able to get to consume.
And what about, we live in Garrett County, so what about all of the critters that are running around our yards and wherever we might place these?
That's a great question. Unfortunately, critters will eat every part of them. So deer, rabbits, squirrels, whatever you may have in your landscape. So again, if you can keep them up on a deck, up on a patio planter, up on top of a picnic table, because they are cloth grow bags, there will be soil that comes out, so just be mindful of that. It can sometimes stain wherever you have them. But yeah, just try your best to keep the critters out. You could always put like a deer fence or some sort of a fence if you had that around them, but they should be okay.
Awesome.
All right, so the last really important step for taking care of your planters once you get them in the sunshine is going to be that you give them enough water through the growing season. So it's kind of crazy about how much water these planters are going to need, but at least a couple gallons every week is what you're going to need, especially for the tomato once it gets up and growing, probably like 5 gallons. So I always tell people you don't need anything fancy. Just if you can just recycle like a milk jug or something like that, it's a great way to have on the patio with it. Keep some water in there, and then you can just kind of dump it on there whenever it starts to feel dry. So again, it's nothing real fancy. It's just you're going to stick your finger down in there as far as you can, and if it still feels moist, it's probably okay a little bit longer. If you feel nothing but dryness or dust, you want to make sure that you give it a nice big drink. And again, it's a good idea that you want water to come out the bottom of it. Once we get into the growing season and plants get really big, you want to make sure that water's coming out as you water, that they have enough.
And do the grow bags already allow the water to come out?
They do. Yep,
Awesome.
That's what makes them so nice. They call it like air pruning of the roots so that they don't get into the bag. It'll just kind of keep them nice and compact, and they'll kind of seek out nutrients and water that way.
Yeah. So Ashley, how do we harvest these once they're grown?
Great question. So the cucumbers, again, they're going to be like a Bushmaster variety. So you can kind of harvest them when they're smaller or when they get bigger. It's really what your personal taste is. Usually the smaller a cucumber is, the sweeter it's going to be. Same thing with the lettuce. Again, it's a leaf lettuce variety that you'll get. So therefore, you can kind of pick it when it's smaller, when it's a little bit bigger. The shorter, smaller it is, the younger it is, the sweeter it's going to be. So that kind of can be helpful with giving you a product that you do want to consume that is tasty. Same thing with the basil. You can harvest it once it has, 5 or so sets of leaves. You can start cutting it back. The more you cut basil, the more it's going to grow. So you don't want it to go to flower. Otherwise, it's going to start to get bitter and too strong. All right. Well, I just want to thank you guys for letting us be a part of this project. I'm really excited to see your planters grow throughout the season, and I hope you get lots of tasty fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, and thank you, Ashley, and the Master Growers Program for helping supply some of the plants and seeds for this activity. We're really excited to see how these turn out. So send us pictures. Let us know what it looks like and what the journey was like in growing these healthy foods.
Yes, and if you have questions, you can always reach out to us at the Extension office.
Yep, or at the school. I'll be here this summer.
That's right. All right. Happy summer.
Thank you.